You are now listening to For All Nerds Show, a podcast about geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. For All Nerds is hosted by DJ Benhameen and Tatiana Jones. For All Nerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
For All Nerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds. Welcome to For All Nerds.
And what's up, y'all? And welcome to this very extra special episode of the For All Nerds Show. The voice of the Urban Geek, the podcast where we discuss geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. And as always, in the captain's chair, it's your boy, DJ Benhameen, aka 4DMX, Project Pat McAfee, Lego My Echo, Slade Trilson, Big Dick Grayson Energy, Edward Nigma Please, Halal Jordan, Wally Westside, Scary Allen here in the spaceship tonight.
Scary Allen, yeah.
As always, I am joined by
Tatiana King, the Grand Duchess of Tech, also known as Flex Luthor, Gucci Mandalorian, Glorilla Grodd, Lambo Calrissian, The Wrath of Khonshu, Fax the Destroyer, Tesseract Thompson, the coldest winter soldier ever, and the Ting of the North.
Mm-hmm. With the sound effect, as always, provided by our brother Luna the God, the editor-in-chief over here at the For All Nerds Show. But we are back. It's a very special episode because we are here to discuss a little movie that is dropping very soon. I'm not sure exactly when.
May 10th.
May 10th, this weekend, or maybe it's already happened by the time you hear this. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the fourth in the recent revival of the Planet of the Apes franchise, which is now going on, over a decade old because it's, the fourth of these films.
It's approaching 20.
Approaching 20. Wow, Jesus. I remember, because I didn't peep the when it started. I remember I went to my homie, shout out to my brother Anthony. I went to his crib, we smoked out, sat there and watched it on the couch. And I'll never forget when that nigga Caesar first was like, no! I jumped up off this nigga's couch and was like, nigga, rewind that. That nigga started talking.
He spoke.
Because I wasn't sure, I'm a big fan of the original series, but I didn't know, if Caesar was going to talk in them new movies. I didn't know what was going to happen. And so when that nigga said no and started talking, nigga, I lost it. Like, the movie's incredible. But yeah, we're on the fourth one. This is directed by a new director now. What's this cat's name again?
This is Wes Ball.
Wes Ball. Shout out to Wes Ball. Ballin' up in here. And Wes Ball is the director of the new one, which takes place, it's still in the same timeline as the last three. Somehow, some way. Takes place, I guess, as it's described, generations later. I've heard hundreds of years. I don't know exactly what is, yeah.
I'm going to assume hundreds because they said generations.
Yeah, it has to be, especially due to a lot of ineptitude on the part of these apes in this one. So I would have to say it has to be hundreds of years later for these niggas to be
hundreds
so sloppy.
Of years where they forgot
everything.
What the word meant. What Caesar's word meant.
Get the strap. Which was get the
they
strap.
Forgot.
They forgot the first law, which was never mentioned. Get the strap.
Which was keep your pistol on you at all times.
All times.
Did you not see the cover of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes? The cover of War of the Planet of the Apes. He has the stick.
Always.
Always.
In this film, unfortunately, there's a distinct lack of ape with sticks.
Well, look. We got to start positive, right? We both put like a little teaser on Twitter just about the overall great things that we thought about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
What was that, Benhameen?
CGI. I will say that off top.
Yes.
Like, I was sitting in the theater. I got to peep advanced screening. Obviously, we both peeped advanced screenings. I was in the theater, and right away, when I think one of the first shots when it focused on Noah's face, one of the main ape characters, I'm sitting there like, holy shit.
Yeah, man.
Like, his expression, the
Yeah.
hair, everything. It was like what Lion King, the new ones with the, photorealistic. I'm using quote fingers for those who are just listening.
I'm going to say that's a bad example because they
But
messed that up.
That was you didn't let me finish there because that was my point. I was about to say what the Lion King should be.
There you go.
It's like these niggas is apes, but they are also
they're emoting.
Yeah, they're emoting, and I get it. It's much more difficult with a lion, versus an ape.
The lion's talking.
Yeah,
the lion's talking. So you can suspend the disbelief of realism.
But it's also an ape's face is closer to a human. So when an ape smiles, like a lion smiling is terrifying. An ape smiling is closer to human, so it's not as terrifying. You know what I mean? No, there's no case where a lion smiles and it's not horrific.
They could make it work. They made.
No, they can't.
And that's good. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I feel like that CGI lion. He was like chuckling and shit. He was chuckling.
That nigga was Jesus, dog.
I will find you and I will kill you was chuckling because he was the voice of that lion. I believe he was the voice, wasn't he? I will find you and when I find you. Liam Neeson was the fucking lion in Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Was he not?
One of my favorite battle rap lines of recent memory.
Yes, he was.
Okay, one of my favorite battle rap lines of recent memory is a rapper said, "I wish a nigga would like Liam Neeson."
Yes, back to Planet of the Apes. You are right, Benhameen. It is impeccable the way that these monkeys, chimps, gorillas, orangutans, the whole ape family, how they have them emoting, and it is a holy shit moment, especially because in the beginning of Mind Screen they actually gave maybe a 2-3 minute short where it talks about the technology behind the mocap. And it literally did it where they would show you the final image and then they would do a horizontal wipe to seeing the characters, the actors with the dots on their face and talking and doing it. And the points, the facial points and the construction and how they match that to the visual effect of the actual ape or whatever. Like they went in, and then not only that from each characterization point, from the environmental design. Mm-hmm. And the expansiveness of the sets, right? I don't even know why I should call it sets, but the expansive of the environments that the apes were in every scene was beautiful. It truly was.
Sitting there really wondering how much of it was sets and how much of it was CGI.
The whole damn thing had to be CGI. There ain't no set. I mean, I'm sure they made. I'm sure I'm wrong, but I felt like this is one of the things where it may be majority CGI, but you don't feel that it's CGI.
Not at all.
It just feels tangible. And that's it. And also CGI has come such a long ways from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the beginning of all of this. So it just, and I will say Planet of the Apes generally, even the previous films from Franco's time and onwards, it looked good. Like
really good.
The apes actually did look good. And even all the movements and even when they were coming, like when they were congregating en masse, it looked good. And again, this is just another level of superior visual effects. And I really love being able to watch how you see the world being reclaimed, nature reclaiming what was the modern times. Like it's very clear that you see where they are. Like once, like there's a few scenes where there's one where they're in an airport and they're in different spaces. They're in a giant container ship. Like they're in all these different places. But then once they back up, like literally, like it's like they take a drone and back up so you can see the whole scene. You're like, oh, that's where they are. Oh, that's what that used to be hundreds of years ago or whatever like that. So I thought from flora and fauna to the actual animals themselves, they did a fantastic job. And then the acting, because again, this is mocap. So it's directly mapping the CGI imagery onto actual human faces that have movement and give and, everything that you could think of in between. And to see that translated really, really well, I appreciated that.
Yeah, I want to give a big special shout out to Kevin Durand, who plays Proximus Caesar. I thought Kevin Durand, who, if you know his face, Kevin Durand is always a villain. probably been in some of y'all nightmares at some point or another. Because this man has got a terrifying face, and he's a terrifying actor. Sorry, bro. You know, like there's a reason why you get cast in these roles.
My God.
My man's face is quite terrifying.
What was he in recently that was terrifying?
I can't remember exactly.
I mean, he was in Abigail, apparently. I didn't see Abigail.
No,
but
I ain't seen Abigail yet.
Primal Swamp Thing TV series in 2019. He was Jason.
No.
He was Swamp Thing? No.
It was something else, but this nigga was super terrifying, but I can't. Lost. He was definitely on Lost. There it is. Yes. I knew it. Yeah, he was terrifying on Lost. So, yeah, my man Kevin Durant was great. Definitely a big shout out to him. Peter Macon playing Rocka, the magical Negro ape. You know, fantastic as the magical Negro. Ika Darville also played another one of the evil apes. Yeah. Pretty fantastic as the evil gorilla. I gotta say right here, you know, I did fully enjoy the acting.
The acting was a point. Shout out to Freya Allen. I was like, why she looks so familiar? That's Ciri from The Witcher. I was just like, aha. She's a really good actor as well, an actress as well, just in terms of how she could emote, express with just her eyes without saying much, all that stuff. So
yeah, fantastic. Definitely. Yeah, and she plays May, who is the main human in this film. We'll talk about her role and the complicated role it plays in this film in a second. But now we get to some of my issues, because I definitely love the acting as well. But right here we have one of the issues, and this is something that the original Apes film played with very well, and that's the concept of race. And once again, I'm using quotation marks because for long-term listeners of the For All Nerds show, y'all know how I feel about race, that it's an illusion created by toxic whiteness. And at one point, we were all just humans, and then, you know, toxic whiteness comes along, and it's like, no, y'all got to be black, y'all got to be this, so we can separate the people and, you know, rule over it, because we're the main minority, and so we got to make everybody else into a minority. Long story short. But the original Planet of the Apes film plays with this very well, because it's like, it is basically an allegory or a metaphor about race, you know, and the apes are representative of black people who have finally taken back over. And it's the white fear that when black people take over, the apes will, you know, subjugate them, and et cetera, et cetera. The apes, sorry, I didn't mean like that. Black people will subjugate them, you know, and then, but in the film, you know, they're portrayed by the apes, and the apes subjugate the white people, right? So that's the, you know, whole fear, and that's played with, etc. Ever since then, it's kind of been mixed bag of things, and this is a very mixed bag, because we have our three main heroes, Owen Teague, Travis Jeffrey, and Lydia Peckman, playing Noah, Anaya, and Anaya, that one hurts.
And Nuna.
And Suna.
Suna, excuse me.
Suna. Very Africanish names for me. I know Anaya, I mean, I got relatives, you know, and they're all white. You know, and then Peter Macon playing the magical Negro smart ape is black. Ika Darville playing the big gorilla ass ape is a black man.
You know what? The funny part about all of these Planet of the Apes films, again, of the 2000s, the mid 2000s onwards, is that I always like, it's like a running joke, but I feel like it's still there. They're like, why are all the dark skinned apes
the evil
the
ones?
bad guys?
And then, like, Rocka, the orangutan, like, because they had Maurice was the original orangutan in the first one, so they have Rocka, another orangutan show up. It's like, yo, this movie is, it's like making, like, this series has created its own cliches. Yes. And it's already fallen into them. It's like...
But they speak to... I will say there was a couple times where they even spoke to their own cliches and made fun of themselves. I was like, all right, but y'all still doing it.
Yeah. And, yeah, it's like the big black-ass gorilla is the villain, or one of the main villains. And then, again, with this whole thing, at one point, May encounters a herd of white people. Which was hilarious. Literally a herd of white people. I mean, they called them a herd. But once again, in this future, whatever time we are in, the only humans we see in this film up until the very end, semi-spoiler alert, you should avoid it, is white people. You know, it's like that's all we see is white people. And white people with dreads and shit. And it's just wild to me because it's like, there's, you know, Negroes playing apes, but you can't have no mixed people in the people, you know, who survived the apes. It's just white people survive in the future in the wilderness by themselves? Like, when has
Black,
that ever happened historically?
Same reason why Black people aren't in space in the future. You know, we just got wiped out, I guess.
I was actually reading this book by Hanif. Damn it, I cannot pronounce her last name. I'll have to look it up. But they were actually talking about how they were watching Blade Runner 2049, and there's like 3 Black people in it. I dislike Blade Runner 2049 famously for a lot of other reasons. You know, I think one of our listeners on YouTube once commented on that. You didn't like Blade Runner? No, I didn't like that shit. There ain't no Black people in the damn future. Why would I like this movie? And again, in this film, there's barely any Black people in the future. Why would I like this film? Until the very end, when, spoilers, you know, some other, it's like the multicultural, you know, world of evil humanity suddenly shows up.
It was like Zion from The Matrix. Like, all of a sudden, everybody in that bitch.
And then that's another, we'll get to that right now, because that's my main point, is that, you know, there's mainly white humans in this film up until the very end, and when it's like you said, Zion from The Matrix and all the evil, I guess, humanity shows up. My other thing of this film is it felt like a lot of other movies. A lot of Avatar. A lot of Matrix. My man is the main character's name, Neo, like...
Noah.
Neo, nigga.
Neo,
nigga. This nigga the Neo.
And I thought it was spelled like Noah, like Noah's Ark. No, it's spelled N-O-A.
Yeah, but it's supposed to also make you feel
purpose.
about Noah, you know, like the character, you know, and the great biblical
leading
epic.
His people and so on and so forth.
Yeah, white ape leading his people. I mean, white person playing the ape. You know, the ape was just a chimp, brownish, you know. But then
you know what's interesting about this franchise, and again, when I talk about the franchise, I'm talking about mid 2000s on up. So starting at 2011, the Rupert Wyatt directed film. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. When I think about the franchise, it's like that first one with Franco, like, was litty. Like, I was never into Planet of the Apes. A lot of people fucking wasn't, but then this came out and it was like, holy shit. Like, it was just, and even if you were a fan, it was just moments about it where it really shocked you. And again, that was because the visual effects were so good, and it was just something that you hadn't seen for some people in a long time. For other people like me, never, right? You ain't never seen no shit like that. You made a point about the fact that you sitting there watching it with your homeboy, and Caesar starts fucking, he yells out no, and that scared the shit out of you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, cause it's just not expected. Yeah. Now fast forward, you get these series of movies where
it's like everything is expected.
Right, where things are happening. It's like great. And like even the most recent one with Woody Harrelson, like I said, wasn't that the one when Woody Harrelson was torturing niggas and shit like that? Like, where it goes dark, and it's like it really some serious shit happening. But then at that point, it's like you've kind of seen it all, right?
Yeah.
And now this film is it's still within the franchise, but almost another reset for 2024 onwards. It's a reset for the next generation of people who are going to be coming up watching Planet of the Apes. But it is repeating.
I hate that. I hate that is even a phrase that can be said and is accepted. I hate that you could say, for the next generation of people coming up watching Planet of the Apes. Because it's like, we're in this weird time now where that's accepted. Like, oh, we got to have a next generation of people watching this shit. Nigga, I grew up on shit. I don't want y'all watching the shit I grew up on. You know what I mean? Like,
why? Are you just trying to gatekeep? Why?
No, because it's like, if you want to watch them shits, I want niggas to make new shit. Just like, I don't
old shit makes money. Nostalgia.
I know, and that's the problem. And it's like, that's why we have Ghostbusters, whatever, you know, which I did not bother to see. You know, and that's why we have this joint, which I really, you know, I was hoping that this joint would be different. You know what I mean? Like, I was just hoping, but like you said, it felt really like
it was a restart.
And not just a restart. This, like, if I was going to give a 2-sentence review of Kingdom Under the Planet of the Apes, I feel like it's a film that is not even a film. I feel like it's a 2-hour commercial for a movie, for a sequel that it doesn't deserve, that it doesn't earn. You know, that would be my 2-sentence review of it. Because so much of this film is leading up to what will happen in the next one, I guess. But it's nothing that I gave a shit about. I barely care about Noah. I cared about Caesar, you know?
I cared about Caesar, yeah. You had more time with him, but even from the first movie,
I cared about him. I cared about him. I don't really care about Noah, because to me, he feels like a fake-ass Caesar. He's like Caesar Jr., you know? It's like,
Caesar Jr. I think it's because they're forcing the fact that he's supposed to be Caesar Jr.
Yeah, and then that he's Noah, and then there's problems with the script. Like I talked about this with Tatiana, so here's some of the things. Like Noah has father issues. Oh well, like every other hero's journey character, he got daddy issues, right? And then, I mean, this ain't a spoiler. His daddy is eliminated 15 seconds into the movie. And then it's like, it's never really referenced again why. So you never even know why this nigga has daddy issues. He just does. And there's another ape that he seems to have an issue with early on in the film. He definitely has history with. This ape is eliminated. We never learn about that. So it's just things like, I don't give a shit about Noah because we're never really given a reason to give a shit about Noah. So that's, one issue. But then the other issue is, like I said, because it's leading to things that might happen in the second film, it's also leading to things that we've already seen.
We've already seen it. It was rehash.
Or it's
Return of the Jedi type shit.
No, what's the one that came out?
The other one.
Yeah, damn. See, that's how
not Return, but the one where it was literally a rehash of the Skywalker saga all over again.
Oh, damn, that's sad. I still remember the Last Jedi's name. That was the one for me. Oof. Damn, what was that shit called?
Yeah,
I still remember the Phantom Menace too. Damn, I remember all them.
I was talking about the not Return of the Jedi. I
know. You talk about Rey and them, and then damn, I remember the Last Jedi, and I remember Revenge of what?
The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens. Oof. Damn.
The Force Awakens. And I was thinking the Last Jedi, which is why I said Return, but no, it was the Force Awakens. Wasn't that the one? Wasn't the Force Awakens the one where it was like a rehash of the whole saga all over again?
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. This not so much because this wasn't the whole saga. This was, like I said, a commercial for the saga. We've already seen this saga. We've already seen Apes.
We've already seen the saga.
No lie. I mean, no spoilers. Sorry, big spoilers. This movie is leading to yet another war between humans and apes. With the big, I guess, newer conflict being that Noah and what's her name and Shorty know each other.
It's a new generation of apes. But my thing is, Caesar knew James when
James was dead.
Had to go out and he
told
was
that
like,
nigga. He told that nigga get to stepping.
I mean, there's lots of rehash. I mean, up to and I know that symbol will live forever. The window, Caesar's window.
Oh God,
that pendant, that symbol. There's a few things for me when it came to this. I just don't understand the rules of this universe. I understand this has been, as they say, generations and generations later, which you can assume it meant hundreds of years later. It could be fucking anything. There's a long period of time that's passed,
the ape
right?
generation?
And that's what I'm saying. How often do apes have babies, and how many?
How old is fucking Raka?
But I thought it's more humanoid. So like they live for like. I'm not gonna say 90 years, but I don't fucking know. Like,
I mean, Raka seemed to know Caesar personally. Like, he knew Jesus.
Well, he was acting like that. Like, for example, in the real life, they said gorillas live up to like 40 years, right?
What about orangutans?
That's Raka. Them niggas look old as shit. So
I need to know. I want to know this.
Orangutans live 40 years.
Oh, ain't no way in Raka. So ain't
they
no
said
way
sometimes
Raka.
50 if they're in
what
their
about
captivity.
Chimps? What about chimps?
They used to be chimps. Chimps live. How old do chimps live? 50 to 60 years.
So Caesar could have been an old ass nigga, and Raka could have been young and met the nigga. So possibly.
Possibly that could be why he's such a Zionist for him or whatever. I don't know. But as I mentioned, I don't understand rules.
Not a Zionist. Jesus.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's facts. I mean, he does want the establishment of the nation back again, doesn't he? Like, he wants those laws.
No. I'm not gonna call him that. I'm not gonna call that. We're gonna change that.
I mean, the real Zionist in this film is
the real Zionist is Proximus.
Yeah. So that's I mean that there you leave it in. There
Zionist,
it is. Proximus.
Yeah. But no, like he's just a what's the people who are just very firmly followers and like
a stan. He's definitely a
Raka
Caesar stan.
is a Caesar stan, yes.
But that nigga's like, yo, his album's was banging, son. You ain't never heard this nigga shit, son. Hold up. Hand me the alt chord, nigga.
No, Raka is a Caesar. But listen, the rules of this universe, as I said, we know.
Raka's like Drake won, nigga. I don't care what nobody say.
it's been a lot of time, but you have people. You have apes like Raka, who, and I don't know if he's the only one left, or there was others like him who are.
That nigga's definitely the only one left. Nigga, the other nigga had got killed above ground.
Who's still spreading the gospel, or what he believes to be the true testament, the Old Testament of Caesar, right?
Drake won.
And then you have people like Noah and his clan, apes like Noah and his clan, who they know about Caesar to a degree, right? But they seem to be on their own path, right? But at the end of the day, Caesar's legacy lives on because these apes can talk, right?
Yes.
These apes are elevated, mentality, all that other stuff.
Yes.
Why can't they read?
All right. Did Caesar ever know how to read? I don't think so.
Caesar knew how to read.
I don't think so.
If I'm wrong, but there ain't no fucking way. He was in the lab with Franco. He had books.
He did. The books got you're right. Because that other nigga was writing. No, they knew how to read. Because that nigga was writing shit.
And I was just, and again, you can say, well, maybe it's different for different clans who are at further parts of the land. And
Eagle clan is illiterate.
Eagle clan is on their own right. Why you have to say it like that? Noah's clan is on another part of town. I get it. Another part of Pallet Town.
Eagle clan is on.
But it seems to me
That's Floyd Mayweather.
But Ben, they expressed, even from Proximus to everybody else, they expressed that none of these niggas knew how to read. And I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all had generations of Stan Rockers running around, talking about the books and stuff. I don't even know if Rocka could read, but he was like, these mean shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't understand. Like, it was just certain, and that's why I said I don't understand the rules. It just felt like certain pieces of knowledge. Like, I understand shit gets lost over time. That's valid. But it's just certain things that got lost and other things that didn't. For example, they're in a clearing, and like you said, the herd of humans, and they looking and they see animals, and Rockin' and them was like, holy shit, what is that black and white looking thing, right? Don't know that it's a zebra. Don't know what it is.
Yep.
But he knows it says, and he knows and says it has stripes.
Now, that in the theater was my moment. It's a minor nitpick, but it's also one of those things. And there was something before that. The apes were saying a few things where I was like, okay, I had to just imagine. In my head, I started imagining that they're not speaking English, that they're speaking ape.
They just speak into each other. No, but they're speaking English because humans understand them, so it's English. Or whatever language is being spoken at that.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm saying. That it was whatever language is being spoken. But
the humans understand it. So,
but the humans are speaking this language.
They're in America.
The humans are speaking this language too, because I had to go with this because I know, but they say shit and other things, so where it really makes it weird. So they're obviously speaking English. Fuck it, the nigga. I don't know. It's one. There's a famous moment from the Lord of the Rings movies with Peter Jackson, where one of the orcs says, "Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys." And people famously are like, "How the fuck does he know what a menu is?" It's like the same thing.
And yes, this is minor nitpick. This doesn't suspend belief for me. Like, it's like, okay, whatever.
No,
I
it's
just
more
thought that
hilarious
was funny.
to me. Yeah,
right. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, the nigga's like, stripes.
But then,
yeah.
As we said, this is a descendant of that film. The last two fucking films where they had sticks and pistols every motherfucking where. I understand that, hey, this thing falls in disarray, you may lose access. None of them niggas knew nothing about guns. None of them?
Now that is even more believable than the books. Because gunpowder deteriorates pretty quickly, et cetera, et cetera. So that shit's going to fall apart very quickly if not well maintained. They would have no knowledge of that.
There's no stories of Caesar fucking going down a block with the gat every fucking day. There's no stories about that.
I mean, I would think there would be, but they would not have the gat. That's the problem. Having the gat, even if they did have a gat, it would be useless.
And this is why I think, okay, like you said, no, but I was like, yeah, everything's fucking reset all over again. Niggas forgot everything.
Yeah.
Besides, but it's like how a lot of people like read like religious texts and they just take what they want to know and leave everything else, cast everything else aside. Well, I want to believe that Caesar told me to stand up for apes and fuck everything else, right? But
Yep.
it's like, but what about all that other shit he said?
Yeah.
What happened to the rest of that?
And then you see they do have certain tech that would stand the test of time, like cattle prods.
Another case in point. Now, not that you need to read to be able to do that, you know, and obviously they clearly got help. Y'all see they got help, but how was they like Noah fixed it? How was he able to do that without having? Did he have an understanding of electricity and how that worked? And
No, but he had an understanding of wiring.
What he did? Okay, how?
I mean, you know, the wire.
You
is
said
broken.
they was illiterate.
Look, a wire is broken. You see that. You stick them holes together and the shark comes. You know, you're like, okay, that worked. The shot comes when I stick the wires together.
Okay, this works when I put, you know, the plus and the minus, it works. Okay, so it's just a matter of trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error for that one. That's what I'm saying. Just like when they got the GAT, you know, trial and error. Pull the trigger and the GAT worked. You know, like they figured that shit out quick. Like, my man did not know what a GAT was. When the GAT got let off, when the strap finally got in this movie, niggas did not know what it was, but they immediately figured it out. It was like, yo, if I point that shit at somebody and do whatever you did with it, niggas lay down.
That tracks. And that's what I said. Minor nitpick. Nothing.
They quickly understood the GAT.
Here's where we leave the minor station and go to major. Proximus, essentially, has a human, older white male, essentially as his captive. He has this nigga essentially reading him bedtime stories all day, every day. But never, it doesn't feel like he's really teaching him shit. And granted, you could say, well, you know, he's a human. He could just lie to him and say whatever the fuck. The white man ain't helping. The white man ain't reading the book that talks about the guns. They have these books in there. They talk about weaponry and this and that. They're not helping?
It doesn't, like, you could read all the books you wanted on how to do everything with guns. Unless you have a smithing factory, etc., you're not.
But this man that was teaching him, like, reading him shit about warfare, and again, they were talking about Roman stuff, but reading him shit about warfare and things like that, there was not at one point where he even described a gun to him.
But see, okay.
I'm like,
Beyond that, no, Proximus knew about gas. He just didn't have no gas.
He was surprised as fuck.
No, he was surprised that Shorty had, I mean, you know, someone had, Shorty had the gas.
He was surprised that she had it, or you surprised that he ain't never seen that shit before?
He ain't seen it working.
He didn't know what it was, my nigga.
No, he knew he was going in the vault to get the gas. Proximus was 50 Cent. Proximus was like, get the strap. Proximus was trying to get the strap, but he just never had his hands on a working strap. He probably had mad straps that didn't work. So that nigga was surprised when he finally saw one that worked. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe.
And you gotta remember, like, you ain't never seen the GAT. So when you see a nigga lay down, you still gonna be surprised. The nigga standing over there and then the nigga lay down over there. Like, you gonna be like, yo! But to your point, this nigga never taught him about bow and arrows. I mean, they had slingshots. Them little Eagle Clan had slingshots. Them niggas ain't have no bow and arrows, no crossbows, no ballista, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's them giant ass crossbows.
The big things that have,
to be
like,
murdering
launch
niggas.
like 50 arrows and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's heavy artillery. Who the fuck knows?
Well,
I mean, my thing is
an arrow? Bow and arrow?
Well, no, I'm used to the ballista you were talking about.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, that's heavy. I'm talking about bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Come on.
Listen, I don't fucking know, okay? Maybe the different
strap.
clans up in the mountains has that, right? The Jabari clan and them got that. I don't fucking know. Okay?
Well,
whatever. All I'm
whatever
saying is it was just confusing. Like, what was they didn't feel like there was the rules. And my thing is, I understand and that's why I'm like, this has to be not a hard reset, but a soft reset, because it's like they picked and choose certain aspects that happened in the past and say, okay, this is still true, and everything else, niggas don't know shit.
Yeah, and I mean, it had to be because they want to get back to a war again, I guess. And it's like, we've already seen that, so you can't have that, you know, just keep going. So they had to do a reset, like, you know, hundreds of years later. And like you said, new generation.
Yeah.
But it's like, goddamn, nigga.
Yeah, I will say this film did good, and you and I just having long dialogue about it, because we had so many questions, you know, and the things about, like, how we weren't even sure we really liked any of the characters.
No, I hated them all.
Or just annoyed. I was annoyed by a lot of the people, the characters, especially.
I love seeing. Well, damn, I don't want to spoil my favorite moment, but my second favorite moment. Both of them did involve May My second favorite moment involving May was watching her ass get netted up by a horse, an ape on horse. When she got caught up in that net for a quick second, I fucking fell out of my seat laughing.
I mean, this film is deeply about betrayal and trust and being, mistrusted, and what happens when you trust people you ain't supposed to trust, and this and that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of that. So there's a lot of good. And when I say good dialogue, I mean you can have conversations about it. Like, I know people will come out of this saying, "Yo, I couldn't stand May," and other people was like, "Well, she had some good points," because if you look at it from the size of a human, she's going to do what she needs to do for humanity, right? And if that means I'm not gonna spoil it, but that means
May is very
you
white.
gotta take the L. She's gonna make sure you take the L.
May is very white.
It doesn't matter what you did for her. You're gonna take the L. It's very white. Yes.
Yeah, very white. Very much white. And my problem was I agreed with Proximus more than any other character.
You did.
Yeah, nigga
Even
said
with
when
him and the idea of enslavement and shit like that.
I mean, shit happens. It's like it's a rough world. Somebody got to run it.
Oh my God.
Nigga, anyway, but his main point of that's beside the point. Look, he had some good ideas. Not all of them were right.
He had good ideas.
He's not Magneto is right. Available now at fourallnerds.com. What he is has some good ideas. Yeah. Like humanity. Whenever there's more than 3 of these white people, you gotta make sure you gotta watch them.
Yeah. And I will lower the importance of, like I said, all of those rules that didn't make sense to me, or the different approaches that didn't make sense. I was like, okay, fine, minor. The things that messed up my enjoyment of the film, that actually impacted my enjoyment of the film, were the pacing.
Oh yeah.
And the forced emotional content. For no reason. And the forced emotional content. So the pacing, it's a 2.5 hour long movie, and you guys will see some critics say, "Oh, the time flew by." It did not for me.
That's a goddamn lie.
It slogged at many different points. Like, honestly, I was just waiting to get to the next action scene, and even in action, it slogged. And the problem is, because the visual effects are so beautiful, they want you to sit and contemplate. When Noah's thinking about a fucking banana, they want you to see the pupils of his eyes dilate. They want you to see the thought train go from station A to station B, and how he feels, and his nostrils flare and the hair stand up. From a visual effects perspective, that's fantastic to watch. But I don't want to see it every single scene. Like, they force you to sit there and really, they force you to make sure you're connecting with every visual component.
Felt Avatar-esque in that regard. But
And you talking about the Avatar, the big blue niggas,
the Pandora.
Right?
Yeah, it was trying to give you that Pandora
When
feel,
I'm trying to get on the story, like, after the 10th time of you doing that, I'm like, okay, guys, I understand. His hair blows in the southeast wind with the hint of jasmine. Heard. Could we get going? Can we continue the story? So there were a lot of random slow moments that just slowed down the progress. And I'm like, come on, like, let's get to the next part. Even though I knew what the next part was going to be. That's that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I said, there were forced emotional moments where you were really supposed to connect, and you were supposed to be like, man, this is sad. Were there times where I was just like, concerned? Yes. But were there times where I was just like, was I supposed to feel something?
Yeah. You can't keep a climb without Dubba. Nigga, I don't give a shit about you.
Anaya.
Nigga, your ass was bitching up all through this movie. Like, when you were in it, this movie's 2.5 hours. You've been in it like 10 minutes, nigga. I'm supposed to care now? And I fully expected that nigga to die there, too. Like, you can't do a climb without. I was like, oh, this nigga did. Yeah. And he didn't, so I was kind of disappointed. All right, my big issues with it that really impeded my enjoyment before we wrap this up, and I do want to wrap this up, because doesn't deserve much more than this, was this is a very standard for writers and people who study writing. This is a very standard hero's journey. Like, popularized the mythological hero's journey. I think it's Joseph Campbell is the author who talked about it. I can't remember. I'm not sure if I'm fucking it up. But it's basically the hero's journey that we see in mad movies, mad stories, whatever, where a character, we actually talked about it on our X-Men review, the Pride of the X-Men pilot is a hero's journey type story where a character, and it usually happens in pilots, a character is introduced to a new world. They learn about the mechanics of this new world. They go through some trials and tribulations. They're reduced to their lowest point where they learn a lesson. Then they get their shit together and they achieve their goal.
Mhm.
Then their goal usually isn't what they thought it was or what they wanted. So they have to find a new goal, which then sets them back onto this path of being back to trying to zero, where they're in this new world and then they can continue their adventures and learn, or, you know, keep moving through this new world. So that's what happened in Pride of X-Men, and that's basically what goes on in this. Noah is in his one world. His world is disrupted by this attack from this other clan of apes. He learns that the world is much greater than he thought, and he must go on and explore it. But my issue is when Noah is reduced to his lowest point, there's no, in fact, throughout this film, as long as it is, it doesn't really feel like Noah goes on much of a journey. He doesn't really learn shit. You know, things just happen. Noah, you know, moves on, fights bosses, and then it's over. But Noah don't learn shit. You know, there's no like,
shit.
He don't even try. Like, Noah don't give a fuck. Like, Noah's asked to do things like, come on, man, you can do it. Noah's like, nah, I can't. You know, I'm good. And then later on, Noah just does it. It's like, fuck it, it's time.
Like, okay.
You know, the movie's almost over now.
It felt like the story was like, okay, now it's time.
Yeah,
as
because the
opposed
movie's
to
over.
he actually earned it. It's like,
Yeah.
well, now it's time for him to rise up and succeed his father. So let's do this. Benhameen,
That nigga said, all right, I guess. That fucking bird.
Eagle.
That nigga's
This
like,
is the law, but the law is wrong. And then Eagle said, my nigga.
but it was like, I guess, nigga. Like,
When y'all watch the movie, y'all understand what
the movie's almost over, I
right.
guess, nigga.
Like, okay. Ben, you know, I was going to let that shit go about the guns, but no. I got to go back because I just realized something.
What's that?
Them niggas had gunpowder. Them niggas had explosives.
They damn sure did, and that shit was working gunpowder at that.
So you mean to tell me
These niggas knew what
you got
gunpowder
all
was.
of these materials, a white man that can read, and they got books they have books from
And
a
I'm
bunch
sorry,
of shit.
and fuck that. In 100 years, you ain't gonna forget about guns, nigga. Like that, like you said, the nigga had the strap on 2 of the movie covers. Like these niggas have seen the DVDs.
Like,
They
wait,
know this
Because
nigga
as you were
had-
talking, I said, nigga, wait a minute. They was exploding. No.
Like that would have been
No.
the first law.
No.
Fuck all this ape shall not kill ape. It's jet the strap and kill humans.
The strap
Like, that would have been
and
like,
shoot everything walking, nigga.
like all the humans. Like these niggas went through a war with these niggas. These niggas went through 100 years of slave with these fucking humans. Like they are gonna murder these niggas on sight with the strap, nigga.
It's what
You
Rogue
right.
said. It's what Rogue said on X-Men 97. It's more the same.
Facts.
It's more the same. We've
Facts.
done this before.
Yeah, jet the strap.
We've been here.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Um.
What? Okay. Now we said what we said. Like I said, it was some amazing, incredible aspects to it and other infuriating points to it
Yeah.
for us anyway. We understand we are also the minority because I actually looked on Rotten Tomatoes and critics are giving us an 85%.
I don't
think
understand it.
The audience score will be close.
Yeah.
The audience score will potentially be close, and that's fine. We disagree.
I don't know if you're in.
It's not a bad film. That's nothing. It's not a bad film. I will say that.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna say it's.
Ooh.
And also, if of the mid 2000s trilogy is not the best out of all of them
It's the
by any
worst.
stretch.
Easily.
But again,
I don't-
remember you said you didn't want to hear this, but this is the new version for the new generation. So they're starting off from 0. So whatever percentage this gets, this is gonna be the starting point.
Oh, well, I mean that's what I'm saying. If you don't consider the old films, then this is a commercial. That's what I'm saying. I still don't know if I can call this a film like that. It's a good commercial.
It's a movie.
It's a well shot commercial.
Okay.
But
I mean,
I
like I
don't-
said, I'm not gonna say this is bad. I'm not gonna say it's bad because it wasn't bad. It was just it wasn't for me.
I don't feel like it has a real story, but maybe I'm wrong. I will say this: there's real hints of a really good movie in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I was gonna say, and just also there are lots of like little callbacks and references to the older films and even the genesis of the Planet of the Apes like franchise overall. There's lots of callbacks and things like that. Like in my theater, the old white men was fucking cracking the fuck up. They were crying when there were a few lines were said that they thought were fucking hilarious. And as me, where I was just like, I don't get it, but okay. And that's okay that I don't get it. It wasn't for me, and that's all right. I don't want. I'm saying I don't want it to. Like, I'm not trying to say like the things that I don't get doesn't mean it was a bad film.
No,
and that's why I don't want to say that. It was, it was just.
I'm actually a pretty big fan of the original series, and the last three I thought were really great.
I thought the last three were good.
Yeah, and that's something that really kind of bothers me about this one because the last three, it actually did a really interesting thing with the writing to me, where it felt like it was actually ending where the original one with Charlton Heston picks up. So it felt like they looped back to that point, and I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. So I thought this one would, but continue that story maybe. But this one feels like a commercial once again for that movie where we'll finally see some niggas come from space and be like, oh my God, the Earth's filled with apes. Like I feel like that's maybe coming in the next one, maybe the third one. But damn. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
What are you rating this film?
C minus, D plus. Yeah.
Ooh,
beautiful visuals. Beautiful
gowns.
Beautiful gowns. The gowns bring it up, but it ain't an album I'm bumping again, fam. I'm never listening to this joint again. It's like you listen to it one time, you're like, that was, but nah, I'm not listening to this album again. I could not see myself watching this 2.5 hour movie again.
Yeah, I give it a C plus because of the visuals. The plus is for the visuals.
It ain't even getting a TNT watch while I'm cleaning up the house.
Damn, not even a laundry watch?
No. Yeah. Hell no. I'm talking about something else. There's too much other shit to watch.
Oh, and I rated it, but I never got to ask, did you care about the fight scenes?
No, and that was another issue. Not really. That was another issue. It was like they were, I don't know why, because as much as I liked the visuals, the fight scenes didn't really do it for me like that. It just didn't have, like...
The gravitas?
Yeah, and then...
Is it because you didn't care about the characters, so it was like, so what that your niggas is fighting?
I guess that's one thing, but even like there's movies I don't give a shit about the characters and they're fighting, I'm still but
the fight is lit.
Yeah, but the fight was not lit.
Yeah.
I don't remember no fights being lit, do you? Maybe
there was times where I was like, damn, there was times where I was like, damn, he fucking him up, but never
but that was about it.
But like from a bystander perspective, where it's like, oh, I should be calling 911 right now, but I'm not, and like keep it pushing.
That white girl getting dragged once again, that was hilarious.
That was just ridiculous.
Hilarious. She got caught up in that net. And there was other unintentional shit like that when apes were getting served. I was cracking up.
Yeah, like I said, there were a lot of like damn type moments. Yeah, that's fucked up. But
but nothing where I was like, ooh, I gotta see that moment again. I gotta see that fight scene. Nah, none of that. No, no. I mean, if one ape dies, and I honestly was like, that's how you die, like So yeah, it was like, I mean, the most unmemorable death. So it's like, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Would you recommend people go watch this film?
No. I'm sorry. We can't keep accepting.
Say why.
We can't keep accepting mediocrity. Like, I feel like that's a big problem. Like, no, man, it's just mediocre. Like, it's
the visual effects are not mediocre though.
No, but the movie as a whole is mediocre. Like, visual effects do not make a movie. And I'm sorry for the people who put all their time and effect in those visual effects. I feel bad for y'all because, you could have been working on a better movie. And I know people are going to go see this. Like you say, it's trending 85%. So I'm just going to put my vote out and say no. But, y'all, go see it yourselves.
I will say, if you are a huge Planet of the Apes fan, you probably want to see this for completionist sake. If you really, 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 really like apes and monkeys and things like that, you're really, really, really going to enjoy this. Like if you're a nature type person. Other than that, I do agree with you, Ben.
Yeah. Nah, man. There's better joints. Furiosa drops in a few weeks. I heard it's crazy. X-Men
really
97 is on right now. Yeah.
They actually had a Furiosa screening already. We was not there. So.
That was in Cali though.
So, okay, I'm about to say I would love to have been there.
Yeah, that was an early joint. But,
so, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes dropping May 10th. Good luck to you all who are watching. I do hope you enjoy it. That's it.
That's it. Make sure y'all head over to forallnerds.com and cop yourself. We are back with all our t-shirt designs. Like the Magneto is right that I'm rocking right now. You can get that. Pre-order only. Exclusive. This is a very limited edition joint, so make sure you go over there and get your pre-orders in right now. forallnerds.com. Do it right now because it ain't going to be there for long.
Hey, what's up, internets and the fan fam? This is Tatiana King for For All Nerds, and I want to thank you so much for listening and watching the For All Nerds. Make sure you like and subscribe to us only on YouTube.